Okay, Algebra 1, this is day 2 of complex numbers. Remember, we have a complex number or an imaginary number I because you cannot take the square root of a negative number. So I is equal to the square root of negative 1, or I squared is equal to negative 1. If you see an I squared anywhere in your problem, you must replace it with a negative 1, which means basically that you're going to change the sign and remove the I. Because if I had 3i squared, and I replace the I with negative 1, that would become 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. So basically, you drop the I squared, that was supposed to be squared, and you change the sign. So, looking at number 1, I'm kind of easing you in. The first few problems are like what we did yesterday, just to kind of get you going again. So, looking at number 1, 1i plus 6i, these are like terms. 1 plus 6 is 7i. This does not become I squared. Okay, when you're adding and subtracting, you do not change the exponent, only if you're multiplying. So 3i plus I is 4i. Number 3, you're going to find your like terms. So you have constants and you have i's. Negative 1 minus 4 in your calculator would give you a negative 5. Negative 8i minus 1i, so negative 8 minus 1 in your calculator would say negative 9i. So here we have a negative 3, a negative 5, we have a 6i, a negative 3i, and a negative 8i. If you were going to do this in your calculator, you would say negative 3 minus negative 5, minus negative 5, and you would get 2. Okay. Then for your i's, you would say 6 because it was positive, minus negative 3, minus negative 3, minus 8, minus 8. And you would get 1, so that's just plus I. All right, so here's something new. When you have parentheses, that means distribute. So you're going to take your 4i and you're going to distribute to everything inside, which means multiply. So 4i times negative 2, 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8. Negative 8i. 4i times negative 8i, 4 times negative 8 is a negative 32. I times I is I squared. Okay, so when you're multiplying is when you're going to start seeing your I squared. So my negative 8i comes down. Since I see an I squared, I'm technically replacing it by a negative 1. But what you really do is change the sign and drop the I squared. So it becomes plus 32. And this is your answer. 5i times negative 2i. We have 5i times I gives you 5i squared times negative 2i. Well, I know that this I squared has to change to negative 1, so this is really negative 5 times negative 2i. And so negative 5 times negative 2 is a positive 10i. Looking at number 7, I want to start by changing your problem so that this is a 7i plus 3i times negative 8 minus 6i. So just make that change. So you're going to distribute your 3i. So bring down your 7i. 3i times negative 8 is going to be minus 24i. 3i times negative 6i is minus 18i squared. That minus 18i squared has to change to plus 18. 7i minus 24i is going to be negative 17i plus 18. Negative 3i times 6i is negative 18i squared. Distribute your negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 7 is plus 21. Negative 3 times 6i is minus 18i. Negative 18i squared becomes a positive 18 plus 21 minus 18i. Combine your like terms and you get 39 minus 18i. Distribute your 6i. 6i times 4 is 24i. 6i times negative 12i is going to be minus 72i squared. This becomes 24i plus 72, because I changed the sign and dropped the I squared. Distribute your negative 11i. Negative 11i times 3 is negative 33i. Negative 11i times 9i is minus 99i squared, which becomes negative 33i plus 99. So that's the end of your notes. That takes you to your assignment. So if you have questions, call me over. If you owe me anything, you need to work really hard to get that finished and caught up because we're running out of time.